Go back and forth on Andrew Luck, reading those off.
Okay.
Welcome back, everybody. This is a beautiful Monday morning on Microwaveables. I'm Frank Smith here with Austin Mills.
What up, guys? Good morning. Happy Monday. Frank, how was your weekend?
It was good. I'm a bit under the weather right now, but I'm powering through it. But all the sports stories that we missed over the weekend, if we had a weekend Microwaveables, it would have been packed.
Yes, there is a lot of hot stuff for you guys this week. You want to pull the first thing out?
I do. First out of the microwave.
Staying local. We've talked about it multiple times on the show so far.
We have a rotten banana. You want to get a feel for that? It's a soft one.
Let me see. Oh, oy. If you've ever felt a mushy banana, it's not enjoyable.
It's the kind of rotten banana that's almost ready to go in the trash, but you might be able to save it making a smoothie or some delicious banana bread. In my case, banana bread, definitely over a smoothie. But this is Dwight Howard. This is where he is right now. He's either going
that was for Dwight for other reasons. Never mind. Go ahead.
I wasn't going to get into that. This is where his career is. It's either going in the trash or he's making something out of nothing, a.k.a. banana bread. So which direction do you see it going?
I'm excited about it. I think everyone's giving him such a hard time. Everyone always gives him so much crap about what he wears and, of course, the butt stuff that came out a long time ago. But I think Dwight is turning over a new leaf in L.A. I like to be hopeful. The options that we had at the time weren't the greatest. We might have some better options in the future. But as of right now, let's give Dwight the benefit of the doubt, and let's say he's going to lead them to a championship this year.
You know, I'm hopeful, but here's what Laker fans have to remember. This Dwight Howard contract is non-guaranteed. Rob Pelinka did a great job there. You know, we're going to grade him on his actions and not what he says this time. So, worst comes to worst, he gets cut. And then the buyout, the trade deadline is going to happen. Marcus Sol is an option there. Mm-hmm. He is going to be in the last year of his contract in Toronto. You know, maybe they're not as good as last year, but there'll be several other options too. This happens every year. A team is not complete until the buyouts are over. So Laker fans, be patient. If you don't have a center, if JaVale's not working, if Dwight's not working, someone else can come save you.
I actually like the Marc Gasol point because I think that the Raptors aren't going to be very good this year. I'm not high on the Raptors. Kawhi was the piece that brought them all together, and they might want to get off that. You know, I don't think he's going to re-sign in Toronto, so there's a good chance that the Lakers might be able to trade for him. I'm just not sure what they're going to have to give up.
Yeah, Marc Gasol will be tough just because he's not someone you'd think as a buyout candidate. The man can really play. He brought them a title, some stellar play in the playoffs. But there's always someone that pops up. I mean, even a guy like Kevon Looney. No one knew how good Kevon Looney was. I'm not saying the Lakers are going to get him, but someone of his caliber who really shows something this year. You know, maybe a bad team can buy someone out.
Kevon played in Golden State. Let's not all forget, Golden State makes guys a lot better because of the talent that they have. But yes, I still would like him as an option. We don't really have that many options as of right now, so I would take him.
Yeah, perfect example, Harrison Barnes.
Yes, exactly.
All right, moving on to the second microwavable.
Hottest story of the weekend. Some people understanding, others not so happy.
We have a little cutie here. We have a clementine.
Fragile, very fragile.
Very fragile, but very explosive, kind of like this story. You know when you take a bite out of one of these and it like sprays on your friend or sprays in your eye? That's what this story was. It was everywhere. Now, Andrew Luck shockingly retired from the NFL. For those of you who don't know, he is in his late 20s. He has maybe a decade left to go, and I don't know, $400 million on the table, and he let it all go because he's breaking down. His body's physically breaking down.
A laundry list of injuries.
He's not mentally there, and we're going to break down every single injury for you right now in the Microwaveables. Go ahead, Austin.
He's got a torn cartilage in not just one, but 2 ribs.
Now, these are not current, but he did have that torn cartilage in 2 ribs. He also had a partially torn abdomen.
Lacerated kidney that left him peeing blood.
Peeing blood?
It's gross.
At least 1 concussion. You know the NFL, you never know how many.
Torn labrum in his throwing shoulder.
That was the really bad one that actually let Jacoby Brissett come on the field and throw the Hail Marys just because his arm wasn't strong enough to get it there anymore. And finally, a mysterious calf/ankle issue that led to this retirement. Now that's a lot.
This is not normal for any sport.
You know what? For football, it's a bit different. Being a Steelers fan, Ben Roethlisberger, whenever you see him play a primetime game, sometimes they'll show the entire body diagnostic where they'll say, left ankle's had this injury, right shin's had this injury, 4 broken ribs, 3 concussions, a back problem. Like, these guys are playing hurt constantly.
Yeah. I don't even want to play with a messed up nail for all that.
It's bad. And kudos to the Colts for giving him the opportunity to keep the money that he got in his signing bonus. They could have prorated it. Of course, when you sign a contract, that signing bonus is understood that you're going to play out your contract. Andrew Luck is not, and they are not going to recoup about $25 million. They're going to let him keep that.
Yeah, listen, I think you can't fault him here. The guy just wants to just live his life. He wants to be able to. I had a conversation actually with an NFL player about this. He said, you know, if I have to cut my career a couple years short so I can like play with my kid and run around and chase my kid, I'm going to do that so I have some sort of healthy lifestyle after football. I don't blame him. I was not happy with the Colts fans booing him off the field. Maybe it wasn't the best way to do it so close to season so the Colts could prepare.
Yeah.
But I think in this situation he just didn't know really how he felt until he got out there, and you got to do what you got to do.
So 2 things. Can we ask who this NFL player was?
Andre Branch.
Okay. Of?
He now plays for the Cardinals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to Andre Branch.
Yeah.
And number 2, with the whole fans booing him thing, it's terrible. And we saw the same thing happen in the NBA. To put it in basketball terms for everybody right now, this is what happened when Kevin Durant tore his Achilles. There was people cheering in Toronto. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you have to remember, these are fanatics. Fan is short for fanatic. These people are not thinking correctly. They are in the moment. They are passionate. They want to see their team win. And, of course, someone like Kevin Durant going down is going to help the Raptors win. Andrew Luck going down is not going to help the Colts win. So these people get caught up in the moment. I would like to see it not happen as much, but you have to realize they're being impulsive. So moving on, unless you have something else.
I was just going to say, the fans put a lot of pressure on these athletes to perform, especially when they're injured, which is what happened to Kevin Durant, which is why he injured himself even more. So kudos to Andrew Luck for making this decision and sticking by it. And who knows, maybe he'll come back out of retirement if he is feeling healthy.
And if you guys want to get really mad, go on Twitter and see some of the tweets people are writing about how this is him being a millennial. I think Doug Gottlieb actually was talking about this is the most millennial thing anyone's ever done, not wanting to rehab, so they're retiring. Troy Aikman roasted him. So if you guys want to, be part of the mob, Twitter's the place. There's a lot going on in there right now.
Don't be that guy.
Yeah, don't do that. But we have our Microwaveable. Number 3, coming out of the microwave, we have something that I actually microwaved this morning. You get some lentils, you get a little feta cheese, you get the bruschetta sauce. Now we all know the sauce is here to last, kind of like Gilbert Arenas.
Balling on a budget.
He's balling on a budget, but I think Gilbert's like 37 years old and he still finds a way to remain relevant. Of course, he's in the big 3, he can't play in the league anymore, but he's more popular than ever.
True.
On clutchpoints.com, you guys love you some Gilbert. Every single time we put up an article with him, it goes off. So this time Gilbert is in the news for saying his first 2 years in Golden State, which I think everyone forgets. He spent 2 years in Golden State.
Yeah.
It was actually very prolific. His second year started all 82 games, averaged 18 points, but he spent his entire contract, excuse me, been under the weather, before he got his contract. He bought a brand new chain, he bought the decked out Escalade, and he thought he was going to get picked first overall. He went 31st, had no money, and started living off a $400 a month budget.
That's nothing. I actually had a conversation with a homeless person last night who told me that the government pays him $400 a month and was complaining that it wasn't enough money, which I totally agree with him. $400 a month is insanity
Where did you see this homeless person?
Outside the market, I talk to him all the time.
Okay. It's your guy?
Yeah, it's my guy.
How does he get the money?
They give it to him on like a credit card.
They mail it to him?
Yeah,
So he has a mailing address.
I would assume.
Okay.
It's a good question. Unless
Yeah.
he like mails it to the bench that I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Well, especially in the Bay, $400 a month is nothing. If you go on clutchpoints.com, we have an article about it. He's talking about, I couldn't have a date night. I couldn't do these things that NBA players were doing. Imagine an NBA player. We think of these guys as balling out, going to the club, getting bottles. $400 a month? That's insanity in the Bay.
But he had the chain and the Escalade.
I guess he just didn't want to sell the chain and the Escalade. Like,
Slept in the Escalade, maybe?
I'm sure he bought it new and it depreciated right away, kind of like T-Pain, who we mentioned in episode 1.
Yeah.
But I want to hear your thoughts on Gilbert Arenas.
Could you live off $400 a month?
What would you do?
Where would you eat?
I can't even begin to think what I
Where
would
would
do.
you sleep?
I'd have to move in with my parents. I'd be in the basement.
Definitely. But, yeah.
All right, big question for you guys today. Who is your favorite third man of a big three? And what I mean by third man is you have the big threes like Steph, KD, and then the third man, Clay. We've seen a lot of these, and I'm not going to go all the way to ancient NBA history and talk about the big threes that happened in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, or even 90s. We're going to keep it right here in the 2000s. So, Austin, hit me with yours.
Well, looking at the list we got in front of us has Manu Ginobili, Ray Allen, Chris Bosh, Klay Thompson, and James Harden. Now, of course, you hear some of these names. You hear James Harden. You want to say James Harden because of how incredible he is now. But when he was with the Thunder, he wasn't the same James Harden.
Off the bench.
Of course, everyone would say if the three of them were still together today, they'd be unbelievable. Obviously, that's the situation. But of this list, I have to go with Manu Ginobili. I'm a big Ginobili guy. He never complained. He did his job, played tough-nosed defense, would dunk on you if he drove down the lane, would hit open shots, was super clutch. I love that Spurs team. They all played really well together. I know a lot of you guys would probably say Klay Thompson, which is right up there next to Manu, but I got to go with Manu. He's just a legend. Played for Pop. That's got to be my guy.
I'm going to go with Chris Bosh.
Really?
I am, because Chris Bosh was part of the most monumental big three. This is the big three that changed the NBA, that really put the power in the hand of the players, and somebody had to sacrifice. That man was Chris Bosh. And he even gets a little bit more credit because his career got cut short out of nowhere. I mean, the man had years left to play, and he had to sacrifice again. I mean, he wanted to play, and the Heat wouldn't let him. So this is a guy who spent the second half, the prime of his career, sacrificing, and got 2 championships out of it. You're my pick, Chris Bosh. That's it.
The only reason
There's some good ones on this list, too,
The only
as
reason
you
I wouldn't
mentioned.
go with Chris Bosh is because you have LeBron. Anybody that has, you got LeBron on your team, same with Clay. You got Steph, you got KD. Manu had Tim Duncan and Tony Parker, who weren't like super duper stars.
Yeah.
Tim Duncan, of course, is a Hall of Famer, so is Tony Parker. But they're not. LeBron's the best player in the league. KD, arguably best player in the league.
Yeah.
Tim Duncan and Tony Parker weren't up there at the time.
If I had to go with my honorable mention, it's going to be Clay. Just because he's the same thing. These guys never complain. We've seen guys like if you want to count Cleveland's big three with Love, Irving, and James, we got complainers here. We got Kyrie Irving demanding a trade.
Yeah.
We've seen how this happens when you put yourself ahead of the team, like some of these guys can do, especially if you're the third in a big three. Now, if you put the team before yourself, you win titles.
Yeah.
Multiple. All right.
Moving on.
True or false? This is the Dwight-themed game of the day. It is a big Dwight Monday here on the Microwaveables. And we've got 4 questions here, or 4 statements, however you would like it. I'm going to ask Austin. He's going to tell me if they're true or false. Now, he hasn't heard any of these. He has had no time to prepare.
You didn't tell me this was coming.
No. So he's on the spot right here. Now, true or false? Dwight has never had a strawberry because as a kid, he was afraid of them.
You know what? I feel like I heard this in the media. I could be wrong. I could be making this up. But I think this is true. I think this is a hard one to make up. And I feel like for some reason, I heard about him being a strawberry in the media.
That is absolutely false. Shout out to Always Sunny for the inspiration there. I think Charlie has a scene where he's never had an apple or something or a pear.
So you just made that up?
I just made that up. Number 2, Dwight was a member of his choir in high school.
That is, I mean, what would Dwight, I could see him like maybe a violin.
Like really sticking out when they're all on the stage, like he'd be way taller than everyone.
Like, I don't see him as a singer, though. Dwight being a singer? I'm going to go false.
That one's true. Dwight was a member of his choir. I got that right off Google. So someone wants to fact check me, please.
Yeah, right. If someone was in his class and was there and he wasn't actually on stage singing, please hit us up.
Okay. Dwight wears the number 12 because he grew up a Patriots/Tom Brady fan.
How long has Tom Brady been in NFL?
Since like, he got his start in like 99, 2000.
So Dwight, and is Dwight a football guy? I'm going to go false.
It's false.
Let's go.
He actually wears 12 because it's the opposite of 21. KG wore 21 on the T-Wolves. That was his favorite player growing up.
He doesn't really play much like KG.
He never got that outside game. Like,
he's so good if he
KG was wet.
Started rolling up to games with the hood on the glued to the back of his head.
I think he needs to reunite and like find his KG roots. That would be great.
Stare at the
Palinka, if you can make
basket.
that happen. Okay, number 4. He's the youngest player to ever record 9,000 rebounds. Ever. Youngest player ever. We have, all the old guys too.
There's a lot of greats out there, but the way you said that, you're like trying to convince me otherwise. I'm going to say true.
It's true. Bad tactic by
See,
me.
you're trying to play mind games with me?
It's true. He's also the fastest to 1,000 rebounds, so he's really been leading this charge ever since his rookie year. All right. What'd you think of those?
So
Is that surprising?
Dwight's had some highlights.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to hate on him. Dwight's had some highlights. He's good at rebounding. Maybe he'll
And he eats strawberries.
do that this season.
All right, get this. The Blazers are rocking new uniforms. We're going to have a photo up on NBA on Clutch Point's Instagram page. I'm sorry you can't see them right now, but they're super throwbacks to the year of 1976.
I'm a big throwback uni guy. Let's bring back throwbacks for every team in the NBA. They're fresh, they're fly, they pay homage to all the old players. I'm a big fan of the throwbacks, and I'm sure they do a lot of jersey sales for the teams. I think all teams should be doing this.
Here's what they should do. Wearing these 1976 throwbacks, they should do the full uniform. Throw the shorts on. Wear the Converse. I mean, obviously everyone can't wear Converse, but wear like the white on white with the high socks. Like really go throwback if you're going to go throwback.
And the short thing is back. I don't know if you've seen like the high school players all wear their shorts like super rolled up and they tuck the compressions in.
They're showing those thighs off. So, I want Dame and CJ and all those guys, please commit to this one. That'd be really funny.
So you want to see their thighs?
I'm trying to see the thighs.
Oh, all right. Frank's showing us a little Dwight action this morning. All right, second, get this. The Rock got married this past weekend. Did you know he's the highest paid actor? Out of every actor, you got the biggest. You got Leo, you got all these great actors. In the last year, The Rock made $89.4 million.
Now, speaking of Leo, I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood last night. I really liked it. I didn't think it was going to be that funny. I was really laughing at a lot of points in that. So if you guys haven't saw that, go see it. But back to The Rock. You might think, this isn't a sports story. Why are we talking about The Rock? For those of you who didn't know, The Rock was a member of the U back in the 80s. Go look it up. The photos of him are like kind of shocking but fantastic.
Was he as big then as he is now?
Yeah, he was hitting people. Like he was a big dude. Not as big as he is now, and he didn't have the tat and everything, but
the tat makes him look bigger.
he was a bad man back then. But anyway, I didn't think he was number one. $89.4 million and number one, that's incredible.
I just saw Hobbs and Shaw, which I put on my story. I don't know if you guys follow me, but I put on my story. If you don't really have other things to do and have some money to spare, I'd go watch it. But otherwise, it's not something you necessarily need to go see. It kind of veers off from Fast and the Furious used to be a car racing movie. Now it's just insane, unrealistic action. But, I mean, shout out to The Rock for doing his thing. $90 million in a year is pretty nuts for an actor.
Pretty nuts. And I don't actually like the action movies like Fast and the Furious and the stuff. It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
So I'm probably out on that unless something really convinces me otherwise. But moving on to number 3, you might say, what does Post Malone have to do with sports? The answer would be nothing, but he does have an album dropping on September 6th.
We don't just talk sports on here. We talk music, we talk fashion, we talk food. We haven't really talked about food yet.
Well, we do the Microwaveables.
Oh, I guess we do.
Yeah.
Rotten Bananas. I'm excited about the new album. It's been a minute since Post has dropped some music. Some congratulations.
I am a huge Post Malone fan, and I actually had the chance to meet him.
Really?
Yeah.
How was that?
He was on his college tour. He came to Miami of Ohio. He was pre-gaming before a show that night at the fraternity right next to mine.
I love that.
Everyone was like this, hey, come on, show up. This is before his album dropped.
I love that.
So, no one really knew who Post Malone was. I had to convince my friends to go to the show with me. Everyone was like this, oh, Post Malone, he's that dude with the corny cornrows. And I was like this, yeah, but he's actually good, and we can play beer pong with him.
He's fire.
So I went, I played beer pong with Post.
Is he good?
He's good. He got obliterated, though. He was not in a sober state of mind. But pretty cool looking back at, probably the biggest artist in the entire industry right now.
So when I, similar to you, when I was kind of first hearing about Post, he had no tats, and then he got wealthy, he got all the fame.
He did have the tats, so he was wearing short shorts when I saw him. He didn't have any upper body tats, but he has these horrendous, back to the thighs again, these horrendous thigh leg tats. It was like, he's a creature.
But way back to before he had any tattoos, he was
On the face.
recent.
Yeah.
It was only a couple years ago. He had 0
Yeah.
tattoos, and he came out, and I was judging him a little bit. I was like, this guy's changed. He got money. He got fame. He tatted himself all over. But Post came out and said that he always wanted tattoos. From day one, he always wanted tattoos. He could just never afford them.
They're really expensive. To get a full sleeve done, I don't know if people realize, but that's tens of thousands of dollars.
It's very expensive. I mean, depending on who you go to, you can probably get some cheap, ugly
Yeah,
tattoos.
if you want them to look terrible,
But Post came out and said he couldn't afford them, and changed my whole perspective of him. I now respect him, of course, his music, and he's a beast, and excited for the new album.
just nothing but bangers. The guy, he rings off every time. So
Nothing but the hits.
let me know what you guys think. Are you ready for this album? Let me know what you think of the whole show today. What did you guess on the Dwight true or false? Did you get all 4 of those? Because, what'd you go, 2 for 4?
Yeah.
I think that's
50%.
about fair. Yeah.
What Dwight shoots from the
Let me know if you want to do that segment again. Give us all the feedback.
Let us know
Signing
who
out.
your favorite third player is, third star.
And you'll
Very
see
curious.
these all on the Clutch Points Instagram as well. We'll have a little recap for you there. If you want to watch the entire episode with graphics, go to the Clutch Points Facebook. That'll be up later today. I'm Frank Smith.
I'm Austin Mills.
We'll see you guys later.
Peace.